word that way. So you do it. That's our incognito. That's our everyday now. She's turning the clock on, so I'll call the Board of Supervisors meeting to order.
I call the Planning Commission back to order.
Do we need to get our administrator to read the public hearing announcement? You want to waive the? I hear a motion to waive the reading. Second. Have a motion to waive. Here's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Sounds like we're not going to read it. It's all yours, Greg.
All right, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So tonight we have a special use permit request from Andy and Terry McCall. They reside at 1304 South Fork Road, Marion. They came in to see us several weeks ago, interested in basically establishing an event center on their farm. This will be an outdoor event center, and by event center, I mean a facility that for weddings and family reunions and church events, things of that nature. So our zoning ordinance does require that for an event center to be approved, that they seek and be approved for a special use permit. We processed their application, advertised notice of this public hearing on May 13th and 20th, and we sent letters to each of the adjoining property owners, and I've not heard from anyone asking me to convey any comments here tonight. So, as always, I'll recommend that you go through the Article 6, which contains the conditions that must be met before a special use permit can be approved. And there's one in particular that I need to bring to your attention. So as you know, before any special use permit can be approved, VDOT effectively has to approve of a highway entrance permit. So I did have an opportunity to speak with VDOT yesterday. The McCalls did apply to VDOT for an entrance permit, and they were able to visit the site yesterday. And they've given them an application for a commercial entrance permit. So that is a process that they'll need to go through. So if ultimately the recommendation is to approve this special use permit, I would recommend that you make it contingent upon VDOT issuing that entrance permit. I think everything else has been worked out as far as health department and the other requirements or standards that have to be met. But based on that conversation with VDOT, I did feel like I need to bring that to your attention. So that's all I have for you this evening. The McCalls are here. I'll invite them up and have them tell you about their proposal and application. Thank you.
First, Andy, thank y'all for having us. We appreciate your time. We're going to get the cart in front of the horse. Everything was full go. We had meeting with VDOT yesterday and pretty much slammed the door with what we can do. Appreciate Mr. Davidson coming up last night, spending some time with us, seeing what we've got. A thank you to Becca. She's a very big asset to you. She's been nothing but helpful the whole time, answered all of our questions, got their information for us. We really appreciate what she's done from us. But I'll let Terry just give you a little bit of why and what, briefly, as to what we're looking to do.
Basically, we want to, like Clegg said, have a place where people can have an outdoor event. It's outdoor only. We're not going to be building any kind of structure. And it will be a place, I'm sure many of you have seen weddings at outdoor events, and sometimes just the reception, family reunions. Businesses may want to have staff meetings and things out there. Where I work, we've had staff meetings out there. We have a current picnic shelter that we've used, and we have lots of shade, and we have lots of open flat area as well. And it's just, if I say so myself, a beautiful, beautiful view. And in the evenings, you see the sunset off the front porch. And so we're getting, my husband's partially retired, and I want to get there. So, this was something that we thought we could do to get me there. So we've had many events of our own up there, our own daughter's wedding reception a few years back. So we he's been in management and I've been in administration all our lives, we feel like we know how to do a business and run a business and know how to get people up there and make sure everything is running well. They will be required to have 2 porta potties, and we will make sure those are, that will be part of our contract. We will organize that. They will have to have a special use, an event insurance policy. And then we want to kind of be the one-stop shop for them. If they want to rent party tents and tables and chairs and tablecloths and stuff, they don't have to go to 3 or 4 different people. We can handle that for them and just ask them, what do you need? How much do you need it? Where do you want it set up? And be there for them. We've had friends who had a daughter get married recently, and she had to do everything. And so that kind of motivated us to be that one stop for them. And
That was in Russell County.
Yeah.
Somebody may know Jackie and Glenn Wilson,
But
Charles Bears probably. Their daughter got married in Russell County. As you all probably know, if you know, Glenn has Parkinson's. Then can still get around, but that's about all. So we went to help set up all this stuff, the tables, the chairs, the tent was already due there. And the discussion got to be later on is, with all the things that we've had with church groups as far away as Damascus, Ohio, been to our house. And in our little picnic shelter, when people are there, we ask you to take a marker and sign and date or make a comment if you want to. You go all around and see where all the people have been from that's come to our house. But that's where it's spurned from. What she's not telling you, this is a cancer survivor, lost a kidney last November. Malignant tumor, they could not take it out, they had to take her kidney out. Her 6-month checkup, they found something else. So that kind of got this way laid into things. She got back from Vanderbilt University, the big hospital down there. Today's Thursday, Tuesday. She was down there Tuesday. She's going to be fine, no doubt about it, but it's a change of our lives. So she can draw her Social Security. She's old enough to do that now. Don't look at though, does she?
No.
Come on
She
now, help me
doesn't,
here.
no.
I'm getting out of trouble here now.
got some points.
So it's a way to generate some income, because we've had so many people said you've got a beautiful place. It was even recommended that the one we went to help with in Russell County, hey, why do you have it up here? We can't do it up there. Yes, we would have done it for them for free. But we've had all the cars, the parking, you'll see from the pictures there, we can park 400 cars.
But we're not going to.
No, we're not going to. We don't want a big crowd, we don't want the high dollar weddings.
Yes, and that's another thing, we want to make it affordable, because so many of these
Christian-based,
things
affordable thing.
are unbelievably expensive. It's ridiculous.
We had to rent a place for our youngest daughter to get married. We had about 2 daughters get married, and that was at Emory and Henry Chapel there a few years ago, just so my deceased mother was in poor health, could come to the wedding.
Yeah.
She
So-
couldn't get into a church or something. So we've had some experience with this. That's the why part of us, why we're doing this and why we're asking for the special use permit. Now, did you all get the packet also? You got the one with the pictures? If you look there on the bottom picture, there's the big point of contention, view from the entrance from South Fork Road. DDOT says it's not up for standards for what they need to have. We had him come out. Clegg did more explaining
In 10
of
minutes.
what the requirements was when he sat back here, that what those people did in 15 minutes. All they wanted to do us was they handed us a big list of things and says, here's basically what you gotta have for it. And they emailed it to us, didn't say how or what, so we had to call.
No
What do we
explanation.
do with it? You'll have to hire an engineer and a surveyor. And the surveyor, the only thing he would do is get a sight distance, and from our house going toward Teagues, I measured it, 405 feet. Going the other way, it's probably all the way down to the car wash, is what? It's over a quarter of a mile, so it's half a mile, so. But no, she told me because I wasn't, I said, I've measured it. She said, I'm sorry, because you're not a licensed surveyor, you have to hire somebody to do that, so. We understand that that's pretty much the end of our story. We'd have to move our water meter. We only own a foot off of each side of the driveway. If you've got the aerial photograph there, there you go.
You see the neck
You can
of
see
our
the neck
driveway.
that goes from up on there. This is Larry Tester. Any of you familiar with that? Up on the hill, we're isolated. You can see we don't have any neighbors. We've got one house down over the bank behind us, the little woods behind us, that somebody, They rent, there's renters coming and going, seems like all the time, but that's the only people that's close to us. Travis Evans owns along our driveway on both sides of the road down there. Some of you remember they had a little fire, there was a little wooden house 2 winters ago, burned down. Since they put a trailer back in there, that's 1306, if you're looking at your map. Travis doesn't own the trailer. The people that was renting the house when it burned down bought a trailer, and he rents them that lot that they live in. But he's landlocked on that side. He can't access his land without using our driveway. That's fine. We're good neighbors. From day one, you use it, you go right ahead, and that's what we want to be. And the only way for us to expand our driveway is either 1, buy some land off Travis, or 2, which we've had a little difference here. Clegg says he thinks there might be a way to get, what you call it?
An easement.
Easement across, although we've been told otherwise that that's not possible from someone else. So that is our only option. But to move the water meter, hire the engineer, hire the surveyor, and then get the work done, we're looking at $20,000+.
And that just blows our
That's not
whole.
feasible for us, for the business, small, cheap. We wanna do, instead of where you go and pay $2,500 for a place, we're looking at $750. And that's just for it, mostly to cover insurance and porta potties, and there'll always be 2.
Yeah.
We saw a train wreck in Russell County, went to that wedding. Women don't like to use the same porta potties as men.
That's true.
So you had 2, one for men, one for the women. That's part of those costs. So that, we're just, maybe would have 12 events a year. We don't want more than 2 a month. We want more church groups, believe it or not. We've had church picnics there. They wouldn't be $750 a rent. Be surprised. Well, we'll do it for free.
Yeah.
We like to be around those people. We got the shade, got the place. Our driveway's paved all the way to the house. Believe it or not, we put the tables and chairs right down the driveway. We park somewhere else. It's one big long table, and you just can't believe the fellowship. You can go on sitting side by side looking at each other. So, got the picnic shelter right below that, where we put the food in that. For these events, we would not do
Any cooking
any
of our own.
cooking. No thing prepared on our grounds. It would have to be catered and brought in.
And so basically, we're going to try to work with VDOT, see what we can do. We were told that maybe we could request a variance, but Clegg has not heard of that. So maybe we'll ask VDOT if they grant variances. We're gonna try to uncover every stone we can, to see if we can get past this initial investment, because that's just gonna wipe it out if we do.
What questions you have of us?
What do you have to do to the road to make it?
Widen the
Typically,
driveway.
a commercial entrance permit is wider than a residential entrance. So my guess is that's the requirement for driving there. And then, bottom line, the application that they've handed in that they reference is additional information. They want site plan, or site distance from the entrance. They want traffic counts. And so there's this entire VDOT manual that, you go through it and figure out through the equations how many vehicles a business like this will, bring to that entrance. And then that dictates the requirements.
It's a very, I have a list here. Do you still have it? Here it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bobby. That's the only thing that we've received with no explanation of what to do about it from VDOT. Until I basically demanded that someone set foot on my property and stare and tell me what that means that we've got to do.
I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
First of all, I just want to say, I live right up the road from you, and my dad actually built the house that you live in. He built it for Mr. Testerman, so I know what a beautiful place you have, and this is perfect for this. So
Thank you.
sometimes I think VDOT needs to play fair, and I know of other places that are doing this, that there's no way that their entrances are commercial and meet those standards. So
I know of 2 in Washington County, but neither one had to, they've got the same driveway I've got, neither one had to apply for anything. They were
Yes.
never approached by VDOT. We approached VDOT, and then VDOT told us this.
well, I'll help you any way I can, so let me know what I can do.
Thank you.
I've got a question also. So, and I know you're not doing this, but if you was to have a barber shop in your home or something like that, would it still require that I mean, that's
Yes,
what I
sir.
don't
If
understand.
you're generating revenue, you must have a commercial.
That's what he told, he said.
That's
if
what
you-
VDOT told us.
Who did
Cause
you-
we offered, I made them say, when VDOT said, no, we can't do this, the horse show ring is 297 feet from my driveway to their driveway, back toward the car wash. I said, can I rent their facility? They have a special use permit. Can I park cars in it and shuttle them in our two vans, 297 feet up the road into my driveway, up my 800-foot driveway? And they said, no, because I'm a commercial business, I have to have a commercial driveway, even though I'm using my own two vehicles. And
Who did you speak to, Leon?
Rachel,
I was gonna
Brandon,
say, I probably don't even have to ask, but.
but Pam Heath was there, and at the end, she was very kind and tried to say she would look into see if there was some,
there was an appendage that she could look at to see if something could be that, and she'd get back to us. And, this was yesterday morning at 9:30 when he met with us. They were on their way up
So they
up
haven't
here to
had
talk
time
to
to call
Craig,
us.
and that's when they told him.
I just don't understand that myself, but yes, if there's, I mean, I would be willing to try to do anything I could. I don't know if it'd be much for them, but,
Well,
don't seem.
like I said, we won't have more than 100 people.
yeah, including
That's
yourself.
what it's in our plan here. We will have no more than 100, we don't want any more than that.
We don't want a big, loud
We don't,
crowd.
no, we don't wanna be loud to our neighbors. We're gonna be good neighbors no matter what. I don't even wanna go ask Travis, hey, to put an easement or buy some of his land. I don't wanna do that.
He probably wouldn't care, but it's the
Right.
simple fact that
I've
there's other
talked to
people out
Travis.
here doing this,
Right.
that don't have to have a commercial.
And when I talked to Travis, he said, just let me what I can do, know to help. That's how he
Right.
put it. Get along
Yeah.
excellent with him. Like I said, you can't access one part of his land in his house.
Without
unless he's
building
using
a
our
driveway.
Exactly, yeah,
So, but I don't wanna do that. I wanna be a good neighbor.
right.
But, we also heard, that there are a way to have a variance. Cause we are not gonna bring, the only commercial vehicle that I know that'll come up our driveway would be tucked into pork
The
pots.
pork chops, yeah.
The biggest thing coming up my driveway is a big Dodge truck and a 20-foot gooseneck hauling cattle in and out.
Right. Well, I was gonna ask if there's an agriculture exemption, because the places I'm thinking of, they're agriculture event facilities, like the barn at Meadowview's one that I'm referring to. And there is no way they would have gotten approved for an entrance, because you can't see either way, there's no line of sight. It's not safe pulling in and out of there, and that is not by any means a commercial entrance.
I mean, generally speaking, they have multiple standards. There's an agriculture entrance, there's a residential entrance requirement, and then there's obviously the commercial entrance requirements. And there's not just one set commercial entrance requirement. What this application asks for is all kinds of information, site distance, but also a traffic count. And that traffic counter, this is my understanding, typically dictates what requirements apply. And so if you can kind of imagine on the low end of the spectrum, if you're not bringing a ton of traffic to that entrance, then maybe it's just a wider width so that you can get two vehicles coming and going simultaneously. But as you go up in that spectrum, then you start seeing VDOT requiring things like turn lanes, and signals. And then if you're on a split road, potentially, crossings in the median. And all of those have huge price tags. And we play this game all the time with big commercial developments. When they come in, they pay attention to all of that, because they want to try their best not to trip any of those requirements. And just to give you an example, I run into this all the time. If you put 3 homes on a single driveway, you then get turned over to commercial entrance permit requirements. So that's a situation where, we've had some hard conversations with folks when they come in and they apply for a simple, what they could perceive to be a simple residential entrance permit. And when VDOT sees that there's 3 homes on that driveway, they throw in the same commercial requirements. So yeah, this is not uncommon. This is a conversation that we have fairly often.
The biggest thing is the cost of the engineer and the surveyor, and then moving the water line. It's just,
Right. Well, but it's a 30-mile-an-hour zone, it's not like, I mean, people go faster than 30
Oh,
miles
yeah.
an hour through there, but
Oh, yeah.
they didn't put a turning lane in for the Dollar General on the west end of town across from Better Homes. That's way more dangerous to pull into than this would be,
Well, and that's.
And more
Yes.
traffic.
and more traffic.
Right. Well, while we're standing there yesterday morning, there goes a truck blazing up through there, just like you're saying. And now there's 3 VDOT employees standing there. She said, okay, what's the speed limit up through here? And I said, well, you're from VDOT and you pass 2 30-mile-an-hour speed limit signs as you come up through there, and I don't think she liked that. And she said, well, that was going a whole lot faster than that. And I said, ma'am, I can't enforce the speed limit. I mean, it done got to that point where, you know, just explain something to me instead of just keep repeating. You gotta hire an engineer, you gotta hire a thing.
Right.
You know, hire it, doesn't tell me, wouldn't say, okay, how, you know, so learn more from Clegg here in 10 minutes than we learned there in 15 minutes yesterday.
But, I mean, so that's what we will try to work with them. We will talk with them, ask about a variance, ask about agriculture, since we do have land use taxes and we have cattle, and we'll see. I'll talk to Pam and see if she was able to find out anything, and we'll just see what directions we can come at this with.
But to generate roughly $10,000 worth of revenue a year is all we're looking to do. So she can retire. We can't go spend $20,000 up front. Well, okay, 2 years to get her money back. I hope we're doing this 3 years from now. We don't know that we will be.
Yeah.
Right now, we're not looking that long term. But we appreciate you letting us come.
And Ben.
Who's got, my little VDOT thing?
I do.
May I have it back?
Sure.
If you'd like a copy, I'd be glad to email it to you.
Wrote you, my number on it.
Thank you, appreciate that.
There's new leadership at VDOT.
There's a new permitting guy with a young man that came out yesterday. He never spoke a word. Not one. But we spoke quite a bit on the phone, but.
Keep that one.
Yes.
Got a couple of questions.
Yes, go ahead.
Assuming that this all goes well, and I hope it does, I agree with you. That sounds crazy to me.
Yeah.
But what is the time that the event will shut down in the night? Do you have a maximum time?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And what I told her, it's gotta be the dark. Cause I'm not putting up any lights and I'm going to bed real soon after it gets dark.
Now, next question is alcohol. Do you have a policy, I assume?
Yes, sir, we would be a no alcohol. We're not gonna put drunk people on the roads. We're gonna be good neighbors. And there's not gonna be any loud music.
I mean, there'll be music, but it
Yes,
won't be
won't be
loud
loud.
to the point.
No.
We can hear everything going on at the horse ring. I mean, we just can't see the horses, so we're not gonna be that loud.
No.
And, you know, he said dark, towards the fall, it might go a little bit.
A little longer.
Dark 30.
No,
Dark
that's-
30.
That's a bitch, that's right.
Have a wedding there, it's gonna last a little bit longer.
Yeah, but,
Typically, most weddings are 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
and if they wanna do it, cause see, we don't have lights out in the field, so if they wanna do an evening wedding, it's not gonna work,
No.
you know,
Too much work.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's,
Thank you.
we're gonna pick what we wanna do. If somebody says that they want that, we'll say, we're sorry.
We don't do that, yeah.
Yeah. Now, if we've got a church group that we can do in the yard, which the group from Damascus, Ohio was, Terry's administrative assistant at First United Methodist Church. And this group came down through Project Crossroads to do some mission work for them. They brought their own food, they brought their own supplies, they brought 2 ladies to do their cooking for them. They were supposed to stay at Saltville or Rich Valley.
Saltville High School.
Saltville High School, got there, they were working on the floors and the smell was so bad they couldn't. So all of a sudden they had to scramble to find a place to stay. They had 3 vans and one of these great big vans, a guy, retired Caterpillar mechanic was driving. It was hauling all the kids in from 12 to 17 years old. They ended up staying on the 3rd floor of the church down there. And teenagers and adults, after about 3 years, after having a couple of them doing that, or 3 days, excuse me, kind of like fish, they start to stink. And they just needed a place to run. So I just told Terry, I said, bring them up here and turn them out. It's the first event we had at our little picnic shelter that was there in the yard. And it went like a covey of quail. Part of them went to where the goats were on the neighbors, part of them went to the fence,
To the
where
fence.
the fence where the horses were, because the only rules I told them when they pulled up in front, I said, I got 2 rules. Number 1, don't cross the fence unless you go through a gate in the yard. And number 2, don't cross back across the cattle gardens and enter the driveway down there. I said, other than that, have fun. And we had a great time with those kids, and they were there from
They came after
7
supper.
o'clock to 9 o'clock at night.
Mhm.
But there's enough lights on each side
Yeah,
of the
there's
house,
nothing in
lights,
the yard
picnic
for a small
shelter.
group.
And we gathered them back up in the yard in the dark. And that's the type of thing that we want to do. That's the thing we love to do.
Thank you.
Thank you, all of you.
Give me a call.
then there was silence.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, if that's it, I assume nobody else is here to make comments. So I would recommend you close the public hearing, and you all can effectively adjourn for the evening, right?
Yes.
Yes.
And go
Right.
to the house.
And then you all can reconvene and formulate a recommendation.
Any more questions or numbers, both of us, are on the packets that you got there? Thoughts, or
Just
like
like
this?
to put my 3 cents in before we adjourn here. I think you know where the other 3 stand. I just, we need to find a way to make it work. I mean, government regulations is one thing, but this is ridiculous.
Yeah, common sense.
Yeah.
Like I said, the only commercial vehicle will be somebody hauling porta potties, and that's gonna be somebody else going there. We're gonna increase our daily traffic count. If you take, I think it's from 2.3 to 2.5 people arrive at an event like this in a car. And if you have 100, you divide that by 2.5, you're gonna get somewhere from 40 to 45 vehicles. And you're taking the traffic flow, you're dividing that into the days, we're gonna add 2 vehicles to our driveway to get the count that they want for the VDOT thing. That's gonna require us to put in, because you all know if you come to an event, not everybody gets there at the same time, and if you have a wedding, not everybody leaves at the same time, but still, you gotta put all that in, so common sense has gotta come into play here somewhere, so I preach, thank you for having me.
Thank you all.
And I'll close the Board of Supervisors for the public hearing.
I close the planning commission.
I'm sorry.
And we're adjourned as far as the Board of Supervisors is concerned.
Thank you. Okay, I'd like to reconvene the planning commission meeting to deliberate over the application. Do you have any comments or recommendations?
Well, I'll recommend that the special use permit is recommended based on the VDOT conclusions for the entrance permit. If they approve by whatever means, we would recommend that the special use permit be approved by the board supervisor.
Okay. Is that a good enough motion?
Sure. Recommend that the board approve with the condition that VDOT grant, I would say either approval or variance.
By whatever
Or
means.
Yeah, by whatever means.
Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your right hand. Okay, it's unanimous. Without any further business, I adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
What do you think?